analyzing Bitcoin liquidity and macro chart patterns to forecast the cycle high. Hey guys, Keith Allen. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm coming off a good night, man. Great day yesterday. Obviously, fun times here watching the charts, and capped it off with a last-minute trip to go see some live music last night at the legendary Fillmore. If you're interested in that, I actually just posted a little clip of it on my X channel, so you can check that out if you want. Gosh, that venue is so cool. Anyways, before we climb in today, we're gonna, of course, today we are going to look at the charts as usual. We're gonna look at liquidity in the order book and identify what's kind of influencing today's price action, and then we're gonna zoom out, okay? Because so much speculation. I mean, the only thing less surprising than Bitcoin getting rejected from the all-time high yesterday, which was something that I was hoping would happen. And I'll explain here in a second, is the just crazy range of speculative numbers that I see as people posting as potential targets for Bitcoin's all-time high this cycle. And I guess anything is possible here in the Wild West of crypto, but I find it helpful to have some some data around those decisions and around those speculative numbers. And a lot of times you see people throwing out numbers like I literally today have seen numbers as low as 80K, and I've seen numbers as high as 2.5 million. And that's quite the range, right? So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to look at the charts. I'm going to look at my macro lifetime Bitcoin chart and show you some macro structures in that chart that can help us forecast where price is likely to go if all things work out in the at least for this cycle, and where price could go and potentially run into resistance once we get into price discovery. Because once we get into all-time high, right? Once we break the all-time high, we are in price discovery mode. It is uncharted territory, but there are some things that we can look at that might give us, they'll give us some insight as to where we could potentially run into resistance if price does indeed move to those levels. So for starters, let's just jump in to fire charts and take a look at liquidity and why we're seeing things change here a bit after such an incredible rally that really began Sunday, I think, working its way up into prior long-time resistance. We took out that 69K level, and which, of course, is the 2021 top, and we saw a pullback from there. Now, I've been saying for the longest time that we wanted to see some consolidations, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But first, as you can see, we have a new block, really a ladder of ask liquidity that has moved into place here, really in all-time high territory. And if we zoom in a little bit tighter, you can see kind of the intra workings of what's happening here in the intra time frames, if you will. So here on the monthly chart, you can see, we took out this, this was really a significant amount of liquidity that got eaten here, upwards of 200 million. And we saw some moving up here. And ultimately, we now have a new block. Our all-time high sits at what, 73.8K, something like that. Let's see. All-time high is at right here, 73,800. And so we nosed right up against that sucker. I mean, within, where did we go yesterday? The high yesterday, 73,600. So we got within like $200 of it and rejected. I mean, when you saw this momentum going, it was like, oh my gosh, are we just going to rip through this thing? And the liquidity was thin up top at that point, and it looked like we might do that. Again, anything is possible in this game. A lot of speculation that, Trump's going to win the election, and that's why Bitcoin is pumping. That's why markets are pumping. Whatever. Just look at the technicals, look at the history, look at the charts. The charts don't lie. And at what I've been calling for months and months and months since we first entered the realm of this range, since we first initially broke that 2021 top back in early March of this year. Um, we've just been rejected from this 69K level, the 2021 top. We've been rejected over and over and over again. We've had all these kind of fake out moves, but you notice there was wick below, wick below, wick below, and things broke down. Came back up again, retested, wick below, things broke down. Came back out, retested, wick below, wick below. Like it not enough strength to hold there. So now we're working on our second consecutive candle above that 2021 top. And what I've said all along is I want to see full candle bodies printing above that level, just like we see here, right? I wanted to see consolidation above this mid cycle top, which we got, and complete with retests of support. Look, one touch, two touch, another retest here of the 21-day moving average, and things moved up. I'd love to see. I mean, perfect world would be to see something similar in terms of consolidation in this range, not necessarily the exact same pattern, but consolidation in this range, potentially retest of support here at the 2021 top. Really, anywhere between the 69 and 70K range would be good for me. If we zoom out to the weekly chart, the technicals are a little bit different. We could potentially, if we lost that, look here to the 21 week moving average as a potential landing zone. But what I'm hoping to see here, and again, on the daily, we saw this is our second candle. This is only our first weekly candle above. So we would, potentially want to see another weekly candle building here in this space above that 2021 top. So yeah, rolled off the top a bit. Totally fine with that. And looking for opportunities, right? Opportunities to buy. And yesterday we talked about that, using the liquidity in the order book, using technical analysis to find those targets, using the MTF mean reversion indicator to find those targets as well. We depending on how aggressive you are, that would determine what deviation from mean you would be looking at. Things have been running pretty tight here, so very few signals at higher deviations in the range that Bitcoin has been trading lately. So if you were to go as low as 1%, at the moment that target sits around 71K, just sub 71K. But this shifts, right, from time to time. So this could shift down, this could shift up, depending on what's happening here with the price action. So that's just kind of an eyeball of what we're looking at here. Back to fire charts. You can see blocks of liquidity continuing to move around. We have more bid liquidity coming into space above 70K. That's a positive sign. And we do have some profit taking here that can be expected. I mean, if you're not expecting that, then I'm not sure how long you've been in this game, right? But when you're hitting levels like this, it's obviously normal to expect profit taking near the all-time high. So now back to the business at hand here. What is happening here in terms of price action? Well, like I said, we got a pullback here, and you can see heavy resistance above with liquidity above. But we do have some liquidity coming into place to, keep price elevated here. And that would be a good thing, right? Now, in terms of targets, so let's go to I've got a couple of charts here, and somebody actually asked me yesterday if I could revisit the cup and handle pattern that we had talked about earlier in the year. Yes, this seems to be developing. One thing I don't love about this pattern here is that, I mean, there's a lot more to like than not like. I would tell you, I like the structure. I like the cup formation, the handle formation. All of this looks great to me. The fact that it's massive means that, or could mean that if this plays out and validates that this could really be a big power move when it's all played out here. And you can see we're now breaking that neckline, top of the cup, if you will, which was 69K. Yes, we did nose up above. Maybe we could split hairs over where this line should be. Doesn't really matter until we break out. The one thing I don't love here is the volume profile at this stage, especially since we hit this bottom here. I would like to see the volume increasing, and in a classic cup and handle pattern, you do see the volume increasing as the breakout develops. And we're not seeing that volume increase here. Now, um, it's rare that we get everything perfect here these days, especially in crypto. So I'm willing to, I'm still watching that intently, but I think this still, at the moment, has enough characteristics of a cup and handle pattern. Now the question is, how do you measure how high price could go from here if you're to do a measured move? And there are a couple of different techniques to do this, and it depends on how you're charting. You'll notice I'm charting these long-term charts on the log scale. And so when you're charting on the log scale, you do a measured move by percentages rather than just the length, right? If we were doing it on a linear scale, we would just take a line here and then put that line up top. On the log scale, we take a percentile tool and we go from the top down to the bottom. We come up with a roughly 77% move. And so to measure where we could potentially go from here, we're going to take that same tool and we're going to draw that same 77% to the upside and see where that lands us. And that lands us right here at, well, 122,500. And that's a ballpark, right? Doesn't mean it has to be exactly there, but that's kind of the ballpark range that I'm looking at. Could it go higher? Absolutely. Might it fizzle out and not reach that level? Absolutely. This is not an exact science, but this is a good tool for forecasting. So I like this as a potential target, and I'll tell you what makes me like it even more. Um, I'm horrible at drawing, but if it makes you guys feel any better, I will at least draw some semblance of a handle here that you know shows us that we're up. Maybe we come down and retest. This is what I'm hoping for, and potentially even come down and test that 21, uh, that 21 week moving average potentially, if this RS flip doesn't hold, and then work our way out to a new all time high. All right, that's what I'm thinking. And in terms of time frame, I think this happens somewhere in mid 2025. Now, here's where it gets interesting for me. A little bit more confluence to help with this analysis here. I'm going to go to my lifetime channel and lay that on the chart, and now show you something that I think you're going to find interesting. I sure found it interesting. So let me zoom out here to give you some perspective. Lifetime channel here. Um, at least lifetime since Bitcoin has been in the modern era post 2013. You can find a longer term chart. There's now TradingView does have an index chart that will take it further, but there was no structure here at that point. So this is really where the structure begins for me. You can see we have touch points here, top and bottom. This was the COVID crash, wick through a bit, but look at this, right? Rejection from the channel after this breakdown, right? This was the 2021 top. Bear market ensued. Tried to climb back in, rejected. Bottomed out here at the bottom of the cup and worked our way up. Tried to climb back in. Once again, rejected. So we may not ever make it into that channel again. Who knows? Time will tell. But check this out. Look where it lays. It comes right up to that level that we just identified. It comes right to that 122 level that we were looking at. So I like the confluence of this right here. And that's why that is, in my opinion, a viable target. And why, once we get into price discovery, because let's face it, once we break this all-time high, we're in uncharted territory. That's where price discovery begins, right? How high could we go? Well, if we get back into that channel, we could go, literally sky is an insane limit, right? And this is over time. This is not in this same cycle here, in my opinion, right? I mean, if price could make it back to that channel, back into this channel, you could see that over time, obviously it's increasing in height, gets up to the bottom of that channel, gets upward of 200K by this time next year. And the top of that channel gets to 4 million by this time next year. I do not, to be clear, I do not think that we're going here. I do think that this is a reasonable target. And depending on what's happening in the world, we could potentially, go back in and climb up to this. Even if we went to the midline, that's $800,000 Bitcoin. So we hear numbers all the way from the top is already in to, these crazy numbers up here. I don't think it's likely that we go this high in this cycle. But I do think it's likely that we could hit this target in the 122, 125 range. Maybe it's 120 to 130K range. Well, again, it's not an exact science. Could go higher, could go lower. But this is where my target is right now for this cycle. And we'll evaluate things and reevaluate things as things develop, right? But and I think that's important to continue to do. But I like the confluence we have between this measured move and the lifetime channel, where we've already hit resistance a couple of actually several times. You can see this was tested for many weeks. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10 weeks. This was rejected and then came back, rejected here again, and now well, we've got some work to do to get up there, and I'm happy to take that trip. Let's see if we took this out to mid next year, where who knows if it's Q1, if it's Q2, if it's Q3 when things top out. But if we were to go that far, August of next year gets us into $192,000 Bitcoin. If price action continues from there. But for me, my target solidly in this, that set in terms of technical analysis, I like that 77% move. That's the measured move. I can't seem to hit it again. Let's see. Oh man. Close enough to the pin, right? 122K, 122.5 is where we landed before. So I'm hoping that's how things develop from here. And this pullback that we're seeing right now is healthy, in my opinion. So don't panic. I see people go, "Oh my God, if we don't break out now, we're doomed." We're not doomed. Bitcoin's doing exactly what it needs to do right now. Exactly what it needs to do. So I would not fret about the price action that you're seeing right now. In fact, I consider this to be stronger than simply ripping through the top. I think these retests are important. I think they build strength in the chart, and that's exactly what we want to see. It's exactly what we need here, right? We need some strength because these celery sticks tend to retrace. So would you rather retrace from here, go test this, and boom, work our way out? Or would you rather shoot to 75K, 80K, or higher, and then come back and retest these levels? So I think this is a healthy move right now. We'll see how things develop. Obviously, weekly close tomorrow. Monthly close tomorrow. Some big economic numbers coming Thursday, and some big numbers coming Monday, and election next week. These are all wild cards that could, how should I say, be catalysts for some erratic volatility in both directions. So be prepared for that. And as you can see in fire charts, there's room for volatility to the downside for sure. No question about it, right? So be mindful of that. But don't panic. Know what your levels are, know what your invalidations are, and stick to your plan. Simple as that. All right, guys, going to leave it right there. Hope you are getting something out of the analysis. If you are, please do me a favor and share, like and share, comment. I engage in each and every one of those comments. So keep those coming for sure. I appreciate it. Oh, and just like that, we got another block of bid liquidity, another 11.5 million moving into place in that 70.5K range. So now maybe this becomes the retest. Maybe it's that 70K that gets tested. Maybe we don't even make it down to 69K. I'd be happy with that either way. All right, guys, going to wrap it right there. Have a fantastic day. And as always, trade safe, my friends.